Yeah.
Roach and stuff. You got it. Ellie, are you going to stay seated?
I'll probably stand up.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
First time I have camera. It is the first time. Looks very professional.
It's the first time I've ever
I cannot get this thing
We
out.
recorded the actual capstones.
But not a proposal, okay.
I'm just
Well, this isn't going to be very fancy. I'm going to have one camera shot.
What?
Camera cut, fancy
Yeah,
footage.
and, you know, this is...
Is my microphone working? Does it tell you? Okay,
Okay.
I'm good.
So welcome to our capstone proposal presentation today by Ellie Janszen. She's going to speak to us for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then that'll give us a little bit of time to ask her any questions if we would like a little bit of follow-up. Ellie?
Sounds good. Thank you. So here's my capstone proposal. Basically, I've been starting this from the beginning of the semester, gone all the way through, have switched from multiple ideas to get to this point. So feel free if at any point during, if you'd like to stop and ask questions of how I got to something if I'm not explaining it. So basically, to start off, what I've researched is my capstone project is going to focus on the intersection of digital media production, marketing, and storytelling within public relations. And I'm going to be doing this through video production. So both categories will dive into the importance of media literacy and explore how narrative-driven content will help specifically communicate certain things. So storytelling within public relations has constantly been a powerful tool for engagement, but more specifically in this recent digital era. And I found through some of my research that this is one of the main ways audiences consume information lately. And I found this in a 2024 article from the Journal of Hospitality and Tourism Management. And they said that it is a powerful tool because emotionally engaging stories and powerful testimonial videos can help create PR strategies and make them most effective. So in going through this video production idea, that's what I wanted to focus on, is the PR side of video production and how that can really relate to testimonials. And I was able to find that storytelling can play a role in leveraging multimedia elements and connect content and sharing digital media in ways traditional media can't, because I've had the opportunity in a lot of my classes to work on news writing and video production separately, some article writing, just a bunch of different things, but not how you can incorporate video production directly into public relations standards. So I felt that with digital storytelling and public relations, as it has become a cornerstone for the business and has evolved so much through the years, I thought that this would be great. And this was backed up by a new literacy article, and it was a case study as well, and they examined video production software and added it into 5th grade classrooms and continued it for the next 2 years just to see how it could improve communication and creativity and just complex ideas. And I thought for a second, obviously I'm a senior, I'm not the same as a 5th grade student, but that is something that they haven't really incorporated or combined into classrooms, at least when I was younger. So that was something that I was interested in, but didn't know how to take the communication side of that into video production. So reading through this article, I was able to see how video production software can enhance that communication and creativity, and thought it would be really cool to explore that through what I've learned here in this project. So those are some of the things that I found with the data that will help focus on this relationship between a community and an organization. So how the audience surrounding it, like the university, alumni, all the sort of people I'll talk about in my target audience, how this video production can affect them. So next I had to go through my client correspondence and negotiated terms, which was a whole new thing because every idea that I came to, I sort of was left at a stop because I didn't know who to pick as a client. And couldn't really find anyone exactly that needed help where I was trying to work on something that I hadn't done yet. So after working on my negotiated terms, I negotiated with the University of Findlay marketing department, and I decided that I was going to do my capstone project with them if it was approved as a video producer and director for a project. So here's the negotiated terms that we came through. I'll have creative control of all of the things listed, and I'll be executing the video project with direction from the professionals in the department. I'll be present during necessary marketing meetings regarding video production, and we talked about this a little bit more. I met directly with Aaron Osborne, who I've been meeting with a lot for this project. He's going to be one of the main industry professionals guiding me through this. And we just had kind of talked about bi-weekly meetings between the two of us and more weekly meetings with the marketing department, just sharing updates, whether that be me finding who I'm going to interview, where I'm shooting B-roll, any extra help I need with camera work, that sort of thing. So we talked about that, and then this goes along with sharing updates with the marketing department of each step. So if there's something they're asking for that I haven't communicated with them yet, this will help me work on that professionalism and what things need to be communicated with business professionals. So I'm hoping to be able to do that effectively. And I'll be directing the Countdown to Commencement series as discussed with them. And this has been featured before on the University of Findlay's YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. But we're hoping to expand to possible others with the guidance of industry experts. But I really want to focus on the Instagram side because I read through an article from 2023 from the Human and Society Journal by M. Beckman. And they sort of examined the relationship between trust and Instagram users. And they found at the end that it all varied based on age, income, education, all that sort of thing. But Instagram was the main point where people were engaged on public relations type of videos because of the short videos that are used and the quick engagement that it offers. But being able to use that trust and information sharing and engagement on Instagram is something I want to focus on in this project. So that's something I've discussed with them as well. And then just finalizing my director role and video producer role will just incorporate these things. So creative and technical responsibilities, script supervision, casting, filming, and inclusion in the pre and post-production side. So that goes on with everything. I'll explain more through my calendar that I have of more direct terms we've come through. But next is just the letter from the marketing department. This is written from Aaron after I spoke with them, just sort of saying that same exact thing that we're going to be going through. If you guys want a second to just look through that. Are you guys okay if I move on? Cool. So in my executive summary, it was really hard to narrow this down to exactly what I was thinking like throughout the whole process. But once I came down to deciding to do the video production side of public relations, I found that creating more authentic content is really special. So through my research, I was able to find that a group of factors contribute to this. If you want a successful public relations campaign, authenticity is really important. And I found from an article in 2024 from Wenting Wang that the different impacts of video production practices are through creating videos with empathy. So they went to a nursing home and focused on sick patients, and a lot of the families that were involved said that them using empathy helped spread knowledge more than it would have if they had just gone in saying, we're going to make this documentary and use these people just for this. So using empathy, especially in the testimonials that I want to create, will optimize this opportunity and help the client be able to directly connect with all of the stakeholders and anybody that we need to engage through this digital age. So that's the focus on my executive summary. For my rationale, this was also something kind of hard to narrow down because they have done this before. But I really want to add that public relations piece to it and the different strategies I've learned here. So through my research especially, how to do effective storytelling and celebrate the class of 2025 as I'm part of that. So I think it would be really special to me. They've done these in the past, but I do want to change it because I think something really special. I read through the Department of Education. Findlay has a high acceptance rate, but we only have a 65% graduation rate, and after merging with Bluffton, they only have a 55% graduation rate. So I think being able to see these features of students, that will help a ton of the target audience that these videos are truly meant for, but we haven't focused on that before. So after talking to Aaron, obviously it's supposed to share the stories and the impacts of graduation and how important that is to alumni and community members, but this will just really increase that with the new merge. And college, people deciding to go to four-year universities, that's also been changing. So just hoping that this will increase my knowledge and professionalism, but also put out that growth and success of how University of Findlay can create success stories within their student body. So I'm going to use storytelling as my branding tool, and I talk about that more in my research because I think it's a powerful tool in both branding and education. It engages audience on an emotional level by using complex ideas with more relatable and memorable content. So I know it can help create a narrative around a product or service and transform it just from not just a commodity, but to an actual meaningful experience that will connect with the customer's values and aspirations. And for the marketing department, that's the outreach to their stakeholders. So I really want to help out with that. And as I go through that, it also brought my attention how much it affects education, because storytelling with something like this, Countdown to Commencement, We'll bring lessons to life by framing the information within a context that students can understand and relate to. And this could be high school students looking to go somewhere that might not be considering Findlay, and a parent, a past alumni that could be an aunt and uncle who went here, shares it with them. And this could be something that could cause them to relate and think about coming to school here. So going off of that, the deliverables I found is I want to have the fully developed cohesive video series using PR and digital media strategies, which I've worked on here, but my research is really going to help me find that. And through my research, I've been able to find the selective platforms that I want to use and the practices that I want to use, like visual communications and creative content marketing. So this will help with things like media literacy, crisis communication, brand messaging, and data insights. And my other goals will be to show the research, planning, production, and all the execution steps that help a video be effective, because I want to showcase the growth and success of both the class and the videos and of myself through this campaign. And the final presentation will be to the communications faculty at the symposium and others involved, which will help close out these deliverables for me. For the comparatives, based on the information provided that I've talked about today, it can be sort of difficult to compare this because every university has their own video production, marketing teams. So I'll just focus on storytelling, media outreach, and following the press release creation, crisis communication, and project leadership growth that I've worked on through the past 4 years of my classes. There will be external and internal communications within the brand, and the communication will begin from small community filming to large community outreach is the hope. So it'll be an opportunity to allow my in-depth project with free work and advertisement to be seen. So that's something different than most universities. They'll have a budget on something like this, which I'll get into more that I won't, but that's okay because the measurable successes that I'll be looking for when comparing this will be determined by the University of Findlay marketing team with their feedback, the communications department feedback, student feedback at the symposium by potentially using sheets to talk to them and get some information back of what they thought of the video, and using a lot of analytics, which I'll also get into more. So my target audience, prospective students, current students, alumni, and community members. And with the Senior Capstone project focusing on the ties between communication and video production, I want this to be able to showcase the unique journeys that a lot of different people have. And starting with prospective students, 16 to 18-year-olds that plan on attending college or maybe don't and are close by, out of state, that aren't interested in exactly Findlay, but this could help them because it'll target the excitement they're probably feeling with their own graduation currently, and also the connection to a healthy university and the success of the students within it. Also the current student side, 18 to 25-year-old college students or students considering transferring to this university. So this will allow them to see fellow classmates and members of the community navigating their experience to reach that point of graduation, which, like I talked about before, seeing those empathetic stories and testimonials really helps with outreach. And then lastly, alumni and community members, so 26-year-olds to 65 and up. It allowed these adults to see their stories of fellow graduates, next generations moving on with their college, and will encourage more community involvement by learning these stories of the students that actually attend. So they'll have a better idea of the impact of the college they either went to or live near, and how this pushes students to be the best versions of themselves. And it will also help celebrate the achievements of the 2025 graduates with a range of demographics and platforms. So I think that will be a big point of this. My timeline and budget, it'll be through August to April. I have a $0 budget. That's my plan, because I'm going to be using resources around here, and after talking to the marketing team, everything's available, which is really, really great. So through August, from December, it's been the project kickoff, project planning, and pre-production. So this has been, script planning, ideas with Aaron, meeting with Professor Rogan every week to discuss what I need to do in my research to get to this point. And in January, I'm going to plan on having a follow-up meeting with clients, research and ideas, and this just keeps going through what I'll be doing. February, hopefully finalizing storyboard and script, and begin casting who's going to be in the video, so the interviews, starting B-roll, campus footage, and adding that creative point of following students to their classrooms, seeing when they talk about the activities that they do at school, actually seeing them in those activities is going to be a big part, and then confirming those with the marketing department. And then March, I hope to be editing with feedback and revisions with the marketing team, specifically Aaron, and then to be able to distribute them for the next month. So April will have final touches, presentation and reflection sharing, and then I'm going to have at least 6 videos posted within the month. We're hoping to get up to 12, so 6 will be the minimum, 12 being the maximum that they've done. So that's the plan, to at least get 6 uploaded before actual commencement. My evaluation there will be a use of quantitative and qualitative metric methods. So this will be with audience engagement, production quality, alignment with pre-production planning, and it'll be measured through the effectiveness of using the strategies planned with research and execution. So that calendar that I showed and the research that I've shown you guys and talked about, hoping to use that to be able to keep these methods being successful. And I'm going to plan on using video analytics and the reactions target as my evaluation. So that's really the main point, is going to be my analytics. That's going to be able to show how I did successfully based on the shares, likes, comments, that sort of thing in comparison to previous years. And maybe just seeing if adding that PR side of things really does make it more successful and engaging. And that's all I have for you guys. Any questions?
Since it is a category, I did time it's 14:20.
Very good, thank you. Kit, did you have to leave? Do you want to ask any questions?
I guess first of all, Ellie, for a lot of these over the years, I don't know if anyone's done such a good job citing their sources during the presentations. Thank you for listening during all those speaking classes.
Yeah.
I think your timeline was pretty clear. Optimistic that there's not going to be any speed bumps. Do you feel like there's wiggle room for, for when inevitably, because you're really relying on a lot of other people, and they may slow you down.
Yeah.
So is there wiggle room to account for that, or what's your plan in case there is a speed bump that pops up?
For sure. So like I had said, using like industry professionals' advice, I've met with Aaron at least 5 times this semester so far just to discuss, and we've been working on the Christmas marketing video because I just wanted to decide if this is something I really wanted to work on and kind of change that side. And I asked him about adding the public relations side, and he sort of told me, whatever road bumps we come into, we're luckily going to be meeting and we'll talk about that. So you'll have access to a camera. I'll be able to work in the lab on Adobe Premiere. That's what I plan to use editing. And just finding casting, he said that's truly up to me how I want to go about that. He'll give me some ideas. So I think every single roadblock I came up to that I thought could be an issue, once I discussed it with him, he made it clear to me that we could figure something out at least. So I'm hoping not to rely on him besides for advice or help with those roadblocks and sort of figure those things out myself. But he has been very helpful so far in telling me where we'll work through those if I need help with any of that. But also focusing on doing it independently so I can get that director point of view.
Great. Thank you so much. I apologize for having.
No, it's okay. Thank you for coming. I appreciate it.
Ellie, you note that your deliverables are looking like at least 6 videos in April. In Aaron's letter, he has that the expectations are at least a couple dozen interviews. So how does that work for each video? Are you going to have multiple people, multiple interviews? How do you envision each of those videos being a storytelling entity on its own?
Absolutely. So in the past, I've seen some of the videos and they haven't used every single interview they've done. So it's really been once they get to that point, so just getting as many interviews as they can, editing and bringing that together. So casting as many people as they can and then deciding at the end, these are the stories we really want to share, but they'll also sometimes edit those videos, get them out to other audiences. So my plan is to try to get that many interviews and still try to do that. If that means, we've talked about that still. That's something I haven't decided on, where I've said like the creative point is what I still want to add to. I know I want to have more B-roll than they've had in the past because it's just normally been the interviews themselves as a testimonial. I want to have B-roll over the interviews, them going to class, maybe their prospective sport, being involved in the choir like some of the past people they've had. But if that means adding like 2 people within the same area, like 2 pre-vet students, I would consider doing that. So that's something that we haven't figured out just yet, but I understand that is something that I have to be 100% certain on by the time filming comes around, but I'm going to plan to do that many interviews.
Do you get to pick out the seniors?
Yes.
Or is this marketing?
I get to.
Oh, okay.
So they're going to have some ideas, but if they bring people forth and they're like, hey, we found this person that's been part of this, if I'm like, I don't know if this is like the route I want to go. They told me it's a discussion for everything, or if there's people I know. I think that was kind of the idea with this too, is getting more student perspective, because it is our class and we watch them. And talking to other people in my class, they've said like, oh, we sometimes don't watch those when we go through, or some people are like, oh, I love seeing those. So trying to connect with whole different groups on campus and not just, athletes or pre-vet and pharmacy students, like spreading that out more, I think is something they're hoping to do this semester to connect with more environments on campus.
I think that ties into your target audience, right? You hit on it several. You were not too long ago the 16 to 18-year-old that was coming to college. You're obviously here at UF, about to be a college graduate, so you hit your target. You are your target. You have been and you are still your target audience and will be with regard to alumni. Something that comes to mind, and maybe you have or haven't, but something I would encourage you to do is look at. I know I love the comparative as far as what we've done in the past. Great, smash those numbers, and shout out to those videos. But yeah, kill them, crush them. But maybe looking at other universities too, and if they do a similar segment or series, and trying to beat their numbers too, as far as analytics are
Okay.
concerned.
Yeah. Do you think it would be more helpful to do that within like schools around our size, or look at all of the different size schools?
Maybe both.
Okay.
Because if you're topping out, larger schools, then that's just more evidence for you and deliverable for you when you go or get into the job market. Look, we did this at this level, at this demographic of student, and we're beating, universities with 60,000 plus students.
Okay. Yeah.
That's
Sounds
all
good.
I think of. Great presentation.
Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate you do the research part, even for the 2024 scholarly sources, right?
Yeah.
Good. And also you give us good statistics of graduation rate from UF and Boston.
Yeah.
It's
And
kind of educational for me.
and I didn't realize that either once going through. I was curious because I had just read an article about how people are starting to go to just 2-year universities rather than 4-year universities. But it wasn't a scholarly article, so I was like, I'll just bring that up in the presentation. And something I had thought about, I was like, I wonder what our graduation rate is and how that will tie in, if people start going to Bluffton because they offer 2-year courses more than we do there. So I'm like, I wonder how that will tie in. So I was curious about that and thought, Countdown to Commencement videos, that's all based on graduation, student success. It's interesting to see what ours are now that we're combining with universities changing so much, especially post-COVID. So
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, that makes your rationale strong, so make your project meaningful.
Okay.
But I have two thoughts. One, you might consider bring the Dr. Phil to your video,
Okay.
the president, because you're talking about the marketing,
Right.
Right. But you have to make sure frame your questions, how you ask Dr. Phil
Okay.
questions.
Well, any of the questions that you ask, any of them, how you ask them makes a difference in the quality of the answers.
Okay.
Right. You may tailor the questions.
Yeah. And I think that's something I'm excited about for this because working at the news station, that's very different than working with like PR questions, trying to get, the more, this is what I love about the university answer rather than this is what I did and I'm spreading facts to the public kind of thing. So that's something I really want to focus on with the public relations side as well. So I appreciate that.
Like Dr. Montague and Professor Davis for your interview as well, because that's representation of Department of
Yeah.
Implementation, right?
Yeah.
Okay, another thought about, I don't know, because you mentioned the target audiences,
Mhm.
that age works for Instagram.
Yeah.
This is good, but you have to think about the downside of using Instagram, but you have to mention that
Okay.
because of the advantages and disadvantages
Got
of
it.
using Instagram for your
Okay.
project. But just briefly mention it.
Okay.
That will make it holistic view of how can you use the channel for marketing.
And can you use multiple channels with the same video?
Definitely.
So get
That's something
more
I talked to
bang
Aaron
for
about
your
too,
buck.
for sure. Because he's like, Facebook, you'll reach the alumni
Different
community.
audience. That's
Right,
most
right.
people.
But like Instagram, obviously with me being a current student right now, it's easier for me to see the Instagram side rather than the alumni side. So that's something I've said too. Like in my research, I was able to find, forget what source it was if I look. When they launched, I looked at an article from, it's like the New Media and Society Journal, and they had talked about social media's users' choices for their interaction, how it shapes their online identity. So that was really interesting to me because that was all like the implications of your choices and what you choose to click on and how they decide that. So I'm like, could that be based on like how I choose the cover of it kind of thing, when you go to tap. So that's something I've been back and forth with, and I would need to do more research on that, but it's difficult to find research that aren't like blogs like Hootsuite talking about, here's something you can add, So,
I can share the stuff I wrote about using different social media platforms for marketing for different goals.
yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, I think I have one section talking about Instagram.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I would appreciate that.
Because you're different, that's for different audiences.
Yeah.
And even if it's the same video, you want the 16-year-olds to come here. You want the alumni to have good memories and give back money. You want parents to send their kids here. You want the community member to feel good about having a university in their community. So there's a different goal for each
Definitely.
audience. So how do you mold your messages so that multiple target audiences,
Yeah.
you hit each of them?
Yeah.
This is a promising project. I'm really looking forward.
No, for sure. I'm excited. I kind of know two things. I think you're working with the right person. Yeah, shout out to Aaron. Very creative and a genius as far as tech, hardware, software.
Yeah.
And two, one thing you noted at the beginning of your presentation when you did the negotiation, talk about creative control. So I think about that going forward in your career, just in general.
Right.
You'll come, I'm sure, if you're going to news or working for any platform, figure out how you can at some point negotiate, right, the ownership of your content that you're in. And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
difficult with, larger logos, but, think about that.
Okay.
Yeah, watermark, right?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, right? How you can maintain control of content that you're creating. or
Okay.
part of.
Yeah.
Or at the very least recognize you may work for companies that you don't get
Yes,
that control and either live with it or find a job elsewhere.
Right.
for sure.
Because they may be so on target branded message that you have to do what they want as opposed to.
Definitely. Okay. Yeah.
Something to think
Yeah, no, Aaron this semester, because I'm in the Oiler 10 marketing group, and he had just said, is anyone interested in joining on the Christmas video? I need some help. And I was like, everyone was like, I've never done any video stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, this sounds so much fun. And the first thing he said, he was like, help build your resume, I'll let you co-direct it. So I wrote the script for this one and wrote out the scenes and stuff. And I really enjoyed the whole storyboarding process. And I talked to Professor Rogan about it just as a side thing while I was still planning. She was like, well, why not that for a capstone? I was like, I didn't even think about that. And as soon as I went and talked to him, he was so on board with just letting me take control and just being there to kind of be that liaison between, when I'm thinking about, would this work to get out to the public? Yes, I've been there, this could help, but also taking my research and asking him questions about that. So he's been really helpful and fun to work with. He's helped me out already with a bunch of Adobe editing tips.
Nice.
Yeah.
But I meant last not question or comment.
Yeah.
How are you going to split the work between you and the marketing department?
Yeah.
Are they going to help you more, or you are going to provide whatever you found to them?
I think it's mainly going to be me. It's just going to be me meeting in the marketing groups, and then I'm going to go out, I'm going to do full filming, full editing, all the interviews, questions, directing all of that, writing any scripts that I have to, if there's background, voiceover, creating all the B-roll. It'll more just be if I show it to them being are you guys okay with this? Unless they're I absolutely don't want this video to look like that. I think it'll be awful, which hopefully they don't do. But that's the plan that I'll be doing. Everything for the project, they'll just be there as an aid for questions if I need any help or they want to approve something.
Okay, so they are going to be a good resource.
Definitely.
Okay. Good.
Any other comments or questions? Good. We can't wait to see.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, there you go.
Thank you. Thank you guys for coming and all the feedback.